So if you've ever wondered, is this homestead life the correct decision for you on your path, aligning with your family values, and you have that little inkling in the back of your brain going, man, are we supposed to be moving out to the country, finding a piece of land, moving out to the woods, finding some forest, plot of land, just a house away from all the suburbs or the city or kind of wherever you are right now. Hopefully this story about how we created Raising Redheads Ranch over the last 18 to 20 months, our decision process, why we actually moved out here. And I hope this resonates with you because everybody that I've ever told this story to always looks at me and says, oh, we do the same thing. Like that's us too. That's very cool. And they're really stoked for us. And much of this started about, I could call it 18 to 20 months ago, when my daughter entered kindergarten. So she is 6 now. She entered kindergarten at 5. She's a very, very young kindergartner. And what I mean by that is her birthday is about 4 days before the cutoff. And our original plan, my wife and I both went to private school for high school, so education's like a real thing. And our original idea was that we were going to be moving to, or we were going to be going to the public school for kindergarten and then redoing kindergarten in a private school, until we got into the public school. And all of a sudden, from our awesome preschool that we were at, the teachers were amazing. We have both of our kids there, so we spent all of our money. If you've done the preschool thing, you understand that. And we loved the teachers, we loved the directors, we loved the relationships. It was fantastic, small classes, all those pieces. And then she got into the bigger school and bigger kids and lots of, going from, 10 kids per teacher or 8 kids per teacher, whatever that ratio is, to all of a sudden there's 20 kids in class. And to say that her behavior changed a little bit would maybe be an understatement, but it wasn't pretty. There was a lot of behavior changes, a lot of just, it wasn't her personality that we had known for the previous 5 years. And as a parent, you really recognize these things. So one morning I sat her down after about a month of realizing like the problem wasn't getting any better. And I took her out to breakfast and just sat down and kind of had one of those like dad-daughter talks. And I was like, look, you got to understand, there's nothing you're going through right now that I can't fix. I've been there, I've done that, I've experienced all these things. I can talk to your teachers if you're getting bullied, if there's a bus driver that's being mean, a teacher that's not being friendly, the homework or whatever it is, let me know. I can help. We just have to talk about it. And the very first thing that came out of her mouth was, we just don't play that much anymore. And I immediately went, oh no, that's something that I can't help. That's something that isn't going to get better either. And the original plan of going and doing a private school, going from what we thought was less intense education into more intense education, was clearly the exact wrong path that we really wanted and needed to be following. There was just too much sitting. There was too much inside. There was not enough just movement. And all of that was kind of festering and getting pent up into poor behavior. So my wife and I sat down and we had to have a real conversation about like, well, our original plan is completely gone now. We just had a branch break in the recent storm. That's nice to find right now. And that whole idea of going to private school, the path that we had chosen was just wrong, but we didn't know what to do. How do you break free from the system of sitting and being inside in classrooms and kind of this like super structured 5-year-old life that we just weren't really into? And none of this is really a reflection on the teachers. We actually had great teachers, and we would talk to them and they would just tell us like, this isn't right. This isn't how kids are supposed to be doing it. This is the system that we have to teach. These are the metrics and the testing and the quizzing and the things that the teachers have to do in order to keep their job, and the schools have to be able to keep the funding. They're just in the system. They can't help it. They know that kids should be up and moving and playing, and doing things and not on computers at 5 years old, but it's part of their process. It's part of what the check marks or the boxes that they have to check. So we started the journey, and it originally started with us trying to find a plot of land that we were going to potentially be developing, and just where do we go find raw land that we can just start this process. And that very clearly was not the path for us. That's like a 2-year, let's call it like a multi-year journey that is not, but my perception of developing land is by the time that you actually move in, you've lost all the love for the place and you're just like ready to get in. Like it's such a slow build that you're frustrated by the time you get there. So developing land was not something that we were going to be into. The next thing that we started to do was kind of set those parameters on Zillow of like, what does 5+ acres look like? What is the size of the house that we're looking for? And we would go out and find one or two that we wanted to go look at. We would find a park nearby, so we'd go look at a couple houses, never going inside, just kind of like trying to like let the information wash over us. And I remember going to a house that was about half an hour south of where we were living, and we pulled in. It was like a beautiful house and had 8 to 10 acres, something along those lines. And over on the left side from the driveway, there was this old, there's like 4 or 5 rows of blueberry bushes. And there was this old sign that said, "You pick 'em, blueberries. Like, come take whatever you want, leave a little cash, everybody wins." And it just hit me. And I went, that's how we do this thing. Like, we count blueberries. That's how we teach my at the time 2-year-old, but that's how we teach my 3-year-old how to count. And then once we can count the blueberries, if we put the blueberries together, that's addition. If we take the blueberries away, that's subtraction. If we put blueberries in jars and put those jars together, that's multiplication. And if we take them away, that's division. And now all of a sudden we have a framework for understanding like how to do math, arithmetic, and all the pieces that are inside that. And then when you start to understand that counting those blueberries, now someone's got to kind of like go sell those blueberries or run the business of that farm over there. And in order for people to find out about those blueberries, now we have to market them by telling people that we have blueberries. What's cool about our blueberries? And then we got to sell those things. So that's sales. And then we also have to make sure those blueberries taste good. So there's a lot of agriculture understanding. We need to go learn about soil and water and sunshine, and that's a lot of science. And then they have to taste good. We have to communicate with those clients, and that's renewals, and that's fulfillment and client satisfaction, and how do we spread the word, and all these things are just kind of like the basics of business. And I run a business. I've been running businesses for like the last 15 years, and the whole thing that I feel creates like very productive members of society is the ability to create value. And I want to raise kids that understand how to create value, to impact their environment, to impact their community. And how do we actually create productive kids? And that became the driving force behind all this it wasn't, I'm just moving to the homestead and I'm going to have a bunch of chickens. It was like, actually, we can develop our own system for creating value to our kids, creating productive members of society, building, reading, writing, arithmetic, teaching them about the science of agriculture, raising animals, things along those lines that probably aren't going to be taught in school. And how do we go and design it ourselves? How do we go build that team around us? And then we kind of found our dream little spot. We found an orchard. It had 80 plus trees on it. It's got 8 different types of fruits, 17 acres. 3 of them are cleared out so that we're able to actually get in there. I missed my turn. And build all this stuff. So not only is this about the homestead. But it's one of the things that I really want to be teaching and showing like on this channel is not just are you trying to move out to the country, but how do you build something that is unique and special to you, how we are doing it. Hopefully it inspires you to maybe just see this as not as like a bunch of people living out in the country, but we're actually trying to grow children that are productive members of society that can provide a lot of value to their communities. We're going to be talking about business on here. I think business is like one of the most important things that people can learn how to do. We're going to be talking about how we're setting the business up of our farm, Raising Redheads Ranch. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun, like farm stands, and we've got 10,000 plus trees or fruits that are going to be coming, peaches and pears and persimmons and figs and nectarines, and how we run our life through the business and teach our kids the fundamentals of these things so that they aren't just going and sitting in a classroom, but they're actually up learning, moving, playing all day long, building a foundational education, reading, writing, and arithmetic, using those skills to then expand that into, how do they bring value to the community around them. And then, of course, we have to learn, once we have those skills, how to run P&Ls, how to run balance sheets, how to understand what assets are, and understand why we run our farm through an LLC and taxes. And I think that these skills in the grand scheme of life are something that are very important. You may not see a lot of that in kind of like a lot of the homestead channels that exist, but it's the piece of it that I really want to teach my kids. I want our family to be a part of. And if you've had that inkling that, man, there's got to be like a different way than just sitting in a classroom, and how do we provide more value to our family and to our kids, I think that you're going to get a lot of value out of this channel. So if you'd like to subscribe, do all the things. I think our first video got like four views right now. We're starting this thing from scratch, and we're just we're trying to build a group of people that want to learn about this adventure in the same way we do. So I appreciate you checking it out, listening to this whole thing, and look forward to talking to you guys some more. Have a good one.